Welcome to another episode of Sit Down Startup Podcast. I'm Pedro.
And I'm Tara. We're happy to have you join us once again as we continue to bring you conversations from inspirational entrepreneurs. They solve real problems, disrupt traditional business, and put their customers at the center of their success.
To amplify their voices, we match them with Zendesk executives for a casual virtual coffee shop conversation. Our interviews will dive into fascinating stories of leaders building business to serve a diverse customer base, how the COVID-19 pandemic impacted them, and the latest innovation in customer experience.
For this episode, our guest is Anthony Kelly, founder and chief customer officer at Glofox. Glofox is a SaaS startup based in Dublin, Ireland. Their solutions help business owners in more than 44 countries create membership experiences for their studios and larger fitness companies as well.
To interview Anthony, we invited Jeff Titterton, chief marketing officer at Zendesk. Jeff is a startup guy and a fitness lover. He worked in many fast-growing startups before joining the Zendesk leadership team, including Adobe, 99 Design, and Zusk. Are you ready? Let's sit down, startup.
Anthony, nice to meet you. I'm excited to talk to you about Glofox. Let's get started. I would love to hear about what's your favorite coffee shop drink?
Oh, that's a good question. I have to say I'm quite a boring guy when it comes to coffee. I really just like straight up black. So Americano would be my poison of choice when it comes to coffee shops.
A Dubliner who likes Americanos. That's a unique combination, I think. Maybe not.
I also like another famous black drink. I'm sure you can guess what that one is.
Yes, I can. I actually just drank some of that last weekend, so that's good.
Oh, nice.
All right, so let's talk about Glofox. So you're really enabling, it's a really fascinating company to me as someone who loves fitness. You're enabling fitness entrepreneurs to build their own business, right? To set themselves up, and that's really helping the global health and well-being. I'd love to just hear your founding story to kind of get our listeners off to start. How did this come about?
Yeah, sure. So we're around since 2014, and the company evolved out of a web and app development shop, really. And we're working like in a normal way. We're working for projects for lots of different customers. And one opportunity came up to develop an app, custom branded app booking system for a gym in Ireland. And that went particularly well, and we started getting some more interest from other customers. So we were always very keen to sort of see if there was something that we could productize ourselves instead of like chasing the ongoing kind of consultancy business. All the founders had a strong passion for fitness and well-being anyway, so it made sense for us to look whether we could take what we'd built and then turn it into a platform. So we spent a lot of time doing that in the early days, when we were bootstrapping in terms of the money we were bringing in from the consultancy business to try and build this product and be able to then sell it on. So it started with a small group, maybe 10 gyms and studios in Ireland, where we were founded, and then grew out to around 100 in about 12 to 18 months. After that, we went through the usual process of getting various rounds of funding, and it's grown to there. Now we're like over 2,500 customers in 44 countries, and it's going really, really well. I think the big key for us was obviously we started out as a platform for boutique fitness, and we were able to offer them a full solution of everything they needed, from scheduling, payments, membership management, little bits of marketing, community, all of the aspects, and it seemed to resonate with that particular customer. And obviously boutique fitness was going on a trajectory at the time, as it still is so popular, and it's growing. So we were able to kind of ride on the back of that wave with the right product and a real passion for what we were doing to try and make those fitness entrepreneurs successful.
Oh, that's great. Talk to me a bit about how does your customer base evolve? So you said you started out with boutique, which I think it continues to be a large part of your customer base, but are you also serving enterprise customers as well?
Yeah, so we over the last couple of years, we've really been able to grow out a good mid-market and enterprise customer base, or what we call enterprise. It would be large gym or studio chains over 1,000 locations, and we're now serving sort of the gym market and the boutique space. And interestingly, our background and strength in boutiques was really what got us in the door with some of the larger kind of traditional gym chains, because they saw the way the industry was evolving. They realized that, the boutiques were taking a lot of their market share, so they needed to get better at member experience. They needed to get better at, the services they were offering, and they just needed to, try and get a newer company than some of the traditional software companies that were out there. So it stood us in good stead. We obviously had a lot of work to do on the platform to adjust and to be able to, cater for enterprise. But it's one of those challenges why you get into these businesses as an entrepreneur, and it's still very challenging to try and manage all those diverse clients day to day. But it's going well so far.
Yeah, well, and you're chief customer officer at Glofox, and I know you've worn, like many founders do, you've worn multiple hats throughout your journey at this company. Part of what makes startups so exciting. Would love to hear about your journey to becoming chief customer officer and what that role entails and how that team is set up, and then also how you think about serving different customer types, like those small boutiques versus those larger enterprise customers. There's sort of a different way, I'm assuming you have to work with those different size companies.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started at the outset where it was more in a sales, business development, marketing role. There's no real need of a chief customer officer until you get customers in and you figure out the processes of what you need there. So I was very focused on that side of the business at the start. When we started to grow and mature a little bit more, it made sense for me to kind of make a natural switch to kind of post-sales environment. I'm a qualified lawyer, so I spent a lot of time in that industry and would have picked up a lot of good kind of tips and habits in terms of client care and what that looks like and what good looks like, should I say. So it was something I was always interested in, and obviously post sales in the SaaS world is everything. It's you're constantly making that sale over and over again every time that subscription comes around. So I do obviously view it as still a revenue generating and a revenue retaining part of the company. So in my current role, I manage kind of all of the customer facing teams, which is onboarding, customer success, customer support, technical support, and our migrations team. So we spend a lot of time thinking about how we can customize the onboarding and success journeys for our different customer types. In the SMB sort of smaller segment of our customer base, it's really about trying to automate as much as possible, but still give them that experience that feels that there is somebody there that cares about them and that they're able to have the success on the platform that they need. There's obviously less in terms of the implementation and setup that they would need from a dedicated sort of account relationship. In terms of mid-market enterprise, then it's really every time you get one of those customers on board, it's usually a deep dive to try and figure out what their particular requirements are. There's obviously more stakeholders involved as well, so we do a lot of planning at the outset for when we bring on one of those customers to kind of ensure their success. There's obviously a big piece will be migrating data and membership information as well, which can be quite complex. So that adds a whole other element to the process. In terms of the level of engagement, the success teams really depends on the size of the customer at the outset and whether they would have a dedicated account manager or something like that.
That's great. And very common, right, to see the higher need with the larger customers. You are in a unique position to be representing the customer internally at your company, right? And this is one of the key jobs of the chief customer officer. How much do you find that the voice of that customer, what your feedback you're getting, is influencing your roadmap and your development?
Yeah, no, so we like to, everything that we do really is driven by customer feedback, and that's something we've had ingrained in the company from day one, that we wanted to listen to our customers and make sure that we were solving the problem for them, especially because the fitness world was changing so fast and there were new requirements coming on all the time, no more so than in the current climate that we live in, where you have to be able to adapt and build products and services for customers that they need right now, not what they needed a couple of years ago. My personal philosophy on this is I have a phrase that I say that when the customer wins, we all win, and that's the philosophy that I try and bring into what I do every day, and obviously at a leadership membership level as well. So we really try and focus on, those metrics and whatever those touch points are the whole way along the customer journey, which shows that we're delivering a good customer experience, whether it actually be in pre-sale, like the first 30 days, the first 90 days, the first 180 days. We've got different metrics across all of those phases, really, to make sure that we're doing a good job, and that we have the right listening kind of posts at each stage there to give us the feedback we need to adapt as we have to.
And you've expanded a lot into other countries. Obviously, always a big challenge, right? It's a great opportunity to be in 44 countries, but a big challenge. How do you feel your company's doing handling that growth challenge?
Yeah, I think we're doing good. I think with fitness, one thing about it is that the services that the gyms and studios are offering globally are quite homogenous. So it's always amazing to me when I would look at a fitness studio in Ecuador or somewhere in South America, and pretty much the same classes and they're running the same services as the local gym around the corner from me. So in terms of the product and what we do, there isn't a lot to change. So really what you're into then is language support and making sure that you comply with whatever regulatory requirements are in the country. So the big challenge is payment processing and making sure that that's integrated with the platform, because in the modern world, people don't want to have to ring up an item for a membership and then manually go into their software platform and assign it to the customer, and then you've got two systems. So we're very much trying to ensure that we have an integrated payment solution wherever we go in the world. So when you check that membership out, you're doing it through Glofox, and then it's complete.
Yeah, that is fascinating about the consistency in gym in the classes that they offer. We're truly a global world at this point. Speaking of global worlds, we are obviously in the midst of a global pandemic that has dramatically impacted your industry. We are all seeing in the kind of phased approach that many countries are taking that gyms are among the last to open, right? So I'm assuming many of your customers have gone into one form of crisis or another, and are probably pivoting. Can you talk to me about, as Chief Customer Officer, how are you approaching this sort of unprecedented problem to help your customers?
Yeah, so we just wanted to get the word out as soon as possible when this happened, that we were there to support them in whatever way we possibly can. We really try in all of our communications for them to feel like it's a partnership that we have with them, rather than just another service that they're paying for. So we looked at it in a number of ways. What can we do in terms of content or information that they might need to try and help them during this time? What financial supports we could give them in terms of discounts on the software, and then we also okay, well, what can we do in terms of the platform to make life a little bit easier for them during this time? And what we noticed was a lot of the gyms and studios sort of pivoted themselves to online classes, because they knew it was a way of maintaining that engagement with customers and being able to continue to earn some sort of revenue. So what we did, which was a big decision at the time, a couple of months back, was we decided to pause everything on our roadmap and get our whole engineering team working on this integrated solution with live streaming and also on-demand video content that they could put out on our apps. We managed to get it out from kind of start to finish in about 5 weeks, which has been a huge benefit for our customers, because they were doing workarounds where they were taking bookings in our platform and emailing out links manually to whatever platform they were using for the streaming. So having it all integrated, saved them a lot of time, and it allowed them also then to still to trade effectively and to show that there are members that even though we're closed, there is value here. And then there's this library of video content as well. So I think that was the big thing that we did, and it's been really well received on the customer side, but also in terms of our new business. A lot of people have heard about it, and now we're getting a lot of migrations from other platforms that don't have it as well. So it's had that kind of double whammy of positivity on the sales front too.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I think that's one of the benefits of being that agile, right, is that you're able to 5 weeks to develop a platform like that is pretty amazing. So congrats to your team on that. I think many larger companies would probably fail at that timeline. Do you see this as an ongoing part of your business going forward? Do you think is this just a point in time? We're helping them through this crisis, or do you actually think this will become a part of your new normal?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a part of the new normal. We just don't know how much yet. So every day we get updated metrics from all of the countries where we have our customers, and we're looking at the number of bookings in actually physical classes versus online. Places like Hong Kong and New Zealand now are nearly back to where they were in February in terms of booking, which is great to see, and those green shoots are so encouraging for the fitness industry and for the world, I suppose. But what we're seeing is that there's still a good proportion of them that are still online. So it's hard to know exactly where it's going to end up, but because there's restrictions in the numbers you can have in a class, they're supplementing that by running online classes for people who can't get in while they're exceptionally busy. So that's one reason. But then other people you talk to are like, this has gone so well, people love it, they can't get into us at the times we have classes, so they'd rather go at like 9 or 10, and they're happy to go on the virtual, and we've no limit. We can have 50, 60 people on a Zoom link, so my personal, I suppose, a gut feel is that it's going to be here to stay, I think. And companies like Peloton have been doing it for so long, so why can't small fitness businesses do it and make it work?
Yeah, I think you're right. And you definitely see it, and I just talking to people who are into fitness, they're learning, I can work out at home, so this is actually good, and I can do it with my gym and get all that sense of community, because I think a lot of these studios have a real community feel to them, right? That's a big part of why they're so successful. All right, so switching gears here, you are a very successful entrepreneur, and as you said, you came to it a little bit later than the average entrepreneur. You didn't kind of drop out of college with your CS degree and go into building something. You were a lawyer first. So talk to me about, a lot of our listeners are aspiring entrepreneurs. Would love to hear about your journey and what you think makes a successful entrepreneur. Yeah,
I think the first one is not, I think, what I say to a lot of people when they say I have an idea or I'm going to go and do something myself. I think you really have to be self-aware enough to know that it's the right thing, for you, because it's terrifying, and it can be a lot of pressure, and it's and working for yourself is, it's harder than working for anybody else in a lot of ways. So I think you really have to think about what it will look like in 5 to 10 years time, and are you a person that's more suited to grow an amazing career in like so many brilliant companies that are out there today. So I think that's the first thing, and I think you have to kind of be prepared to kind of sit in and wait as well, and be patient. And I definitely wasn't patient. I was kind of hard on myself in terms of like, after 2 or 3 years going, God, we haven't made it anywhere, we're not profitable, we're not, so on, and kind of, beat myself up a little bit. But it's like any career or anything you do in life, it really takes you 7 to 10 years to get good at it and to achieve anything. So I think patience is really important, and to be kind to yourself as well. And just, an idea is just an idea. Everybody, if you talk to anyone, they've got a really good idea. You just have to be able to execute on that idea and be prepared to, the first idea you have may actually not be the one, but it's through, that little tweak and getting the execution right that you'll get the success. You all are definitely executing. Congratulations on your success. So let's end here with one final question, which is, where are you going next? Do you have a next, are you in the crisis mode and just focused on crisis, or are you looking ahead further than that right now? Yeah, so we're definitely in the crisis mode, but we definitely have a plan of where we're going to next. We're finished. This year is really about finishing off the features that we need for enterprise, and to be able to help us to scale that process, to be able to bring on large customers, and to do more than one at a time, because it's all encompassing at the moment. So we've a lot of work to kind of get to finish off. It's nearly there, making the platform enterprise ready. Then after that, it'll be a case of trying to capture as much of that market as we can, and we also have started that this year was a big play on Brazil as well. So that's exciting, and we're seeing like some good results so far down there as well. So that'll be our first time really, targeting one of the large kind of non-English speaking markets. So really, really excited to see how that one plays out.
Why Brazil? Just out of curiosity, it's an amazing market, but just curious.
Yeah, I think there's a number of reasons. We've got a good channel partner down there that we're working with, and it's a fitness mad country. There's so many gyms and studios. It's crazy, but it also doesn't have. There's no kind of big players, and especially none of the big US players have a presence there. So there's a good opportunity. A lot of them are still wouldn't be even on software. A lot of the gyms aren't on software platforms and things like that. So there's really good scope for growth.
Thanks for sitting down with us, Anthony. I really enjoy hearing Glofox growth and more about your role as Chief Customer Officer. It's crucial to have someone on the leadership team that amplifies the voice of the customer during the many stages of growth a startup goes through.
And what stood out for me was how he mentioned that everything they do is driven by customer feedback. The message is clear: understand your customers' needs and shape your business to it. That's how you really build a customer-centric company. Glofox's ability to respond to real-time issues and launch streaming features during the pandemic also positions them now as a partner that truly understands their customers' pain. This helps a lot of businesses offer services for fitness fans worldwide, even in today's environment.
You're right, Anthony. When the customer wins, we all win. If you like this episode, tune in for our next episode with Bai Gan, Chief Product Officer at Zenny Optical, one of the first direct-to-consumer brands in the US. Don't forget to rate us on your podcast of choice. Subscribe and share with your friends. It's summertime. Give yourself a screen break.
And when Pedro and I are not recording this podcast, we are part of Zendesk for Startups. If you're a startup, go to www.zendesk.com/startups and sign up to join our program.
Qualified companies get 6 months free of Zendesk software for customer support, sales, and customer engagement teams.
They also get connected with our exclusive community of leaders and partners who are changing the landscape of customers' experiences. Talk to you next time.
Stay hungry.